your helmet. Oh yeah, and I give you back the clothes too, but I accidentally threw them in a garbage bin I saw across the street.
Hello everybody, welcome to Hold Up, the show where we dive deep inside your childhood nostalgia, pull the movies from your past out to see if they hold up. Today I'm holed up with Andrew and Kyle. Wait, no, Kyle's not here, right?
Kyle's not here, thank God.
Did he get married?
He, unfortunately, yeah. He's
that son of a bitch.
I know. Bastard,
Wait, hold on. I think we have a special guest today, right?
Oh, yeah,
He's
we
at
do.
the door. Go.
Hey, come on in, man. Come on in.
Hey, is this the Fill Your Holes Up podcast?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure
Come sit down and
Right on.
fill
Okay.
our holes up. I don't think we're familiar. Andrew, who is this strapping young gentleman?
This young, accomplished man, writer, director, actor, producer extraordinaire, Derek Evans.
Woo!
He is the star and director of The King of Bloody Fucking Britain and the director of the award-winning short, Barely Breathing. Derek, welcome. What an honor to be with you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Kyle, for fucking off so I can join you guys.
Yeah. We are so excited to have you here, and I'm glad that we could. That was the first episode we ever opened with a skit, and thank you for picking Brink as the movie that we're going to dive fully into.
Brink.
Face first.
It's with an exclamation point. Don't forget that.
Brink,
So there's an emphasis. Brink.
Yeah, Brink.
Yeah.
Brink. Yeah, rad, bro.
Right.
So, why did you pick Brink? I gotta know.
So you had come to me and you had said, hey, we'd love to have you on the podcast at some point. Could you think of a film? And I was like, what are films? And I had to look that up real quick.
Yeah.
But once I did, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen films. I was just sort of thinking about, you know what, you guys have done so many great films on the podcast actually already, you know, Jurassic Park and
Godzilla.
Batman
and Robin.
Oh,
Just
Yeah,
ones
it's
that
just
will go
like-
down the annals of film history and be regarded as
that's some of the best cinema ever created.
just works of art. So
They are works of art. And I just thought, you know, hey, I would love to do something from my childhood that was a banger film for me growing up, and was a film that maybe, you know, can't be that original, was probably a banger film for a lot of kids and a lot of people, a lot of millennials growing up, you know. And Brink was a film that made me buy rollerblades. I was like, I gotta do it.
you became an inline skater after this?
I did. I was no good ever, but I did buy them.
Did you buy knee pads and elbow pads and chest pads and
No,
everything?
that was lame. That was lame.
Hey, good
so.
for you. I was going to say if you did, then you are a fucking pussy. So
Yeah.
good thing you didn't.
Yeah. Anyway,
So how long did you skate after you watched this movie, or was it like a little fad? Did you?
I skated for a few years after I watched this movie. I was not an athletic kid at all. Very artistically driven, but Brink made me want to put on some blades and shred. And my version of shredding was jumping up once on the step and then off of the step, and I'm like, yeah.
This was the perfect '90s movie too. Like,
It's a quintessential
can't
90s
watch this movie and not think of everything '90s, because it had everything, and it had slang terms, telling your dad off, two minority characters that only show as plot-driven point.
I wish that this movie had incorporated like Third Eyed Blind music. Like I feel like they would have.
They didn't get the light.
They didn't have that money, but like it would have fit perfectly for this movie.
Or some Blink 182.
Blink-182, yes, yeah.
They did try. I mean, they
It
threw a punk
sounded
song in there.
similar.
And you know what's interesting? That I'd have to look it up to verify, but I feel like that punk song that they opened the film with, they do it again later, but as a ska version of the same song.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same song.
Yeah.
I'd have
Interesting.
to look it up. I don't know. But if they had Third Eye Blind music, this would probably be...
It would take it up a notch.
It
for
would
me
take it up a
personally.
notch.
So,
I think
yeah.
so.
This
yeah.
movie came out like 3 years later. You know, Good Charlotte would have been in it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it. It has that kind of vibe.
But it's a little more innocent than some of those songs that we're describing. But hey,
A little
that's okay. It fits the mood.
Yeah.
Listen, that was growing up with punk music. I mean, a lot of millennials, I'm sure, are the same one. I'll go through swings even now where I'm like, I'm just going to listen to Blink all day.
Yeah.
And I'll throw Blink up on Spotify, and that's it. And the punk music like that, Good Charlotte and, Sum 41.
Honestly, going on long runs, I'll put on like 90s, like early 2000s, like punk rock, and it
Hell yeah.
fucking sends me.
I'll even
It's
have
so
Third Eye
good.
Blind Days.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They've got some banger songs. The earlier
Oh,
stuff.
for sure.
The earlier stuff.
They're
for
awful
sure.
live, but like it takes you back.
Damn.
It takes you back.
There's a level of energy, and it kind of reminds me of playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
yeah.
For sure.
Like even like hitting some of that butt rock era, like Motorhead and
Yeah.
Slipknot kind of like stuff. It like kind of verges
Yeah.
from punk to like metal, but it's not quite either.
Yeah.
And it's just really bad music, but for whatever reason, like
No,
we
it's
all
great
live
music.
in that. Yeah.
Honestly,
it's great.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 album soundtrack was the best ever.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was truly.
Yeah.
You can pull that up on Spotify.
That's the one with
It's-
Ace of
somebody's
Spades
made-
in it. Yeah.
Sure,
Yes.
it's on Spotify.
Yeah.
And CKY, his cousin's band is in there too. So won't say what that stands for because this is a family podcast, but you can Google it.
Yeah, we already opened up with the Fill Your Hole podcast. It's like we're really hitting the family.
I mean, I'm
vibes
surprised
here.
we haven't, actually made fun of ourselves for that to this point. I don't think we've made fun of the word or used the word whole to that level.
Just needed an outside eye. That was all.
Yeah, of course. And I appreciate that.
We needed a creative, someone who has written and
Yeah.
directed such powerful films.
Yeah, you just needed someone who is an auteur, such as myself, to step in
Oh
and
God,
be
Andrew,
clever.
what did you remember about Brink? I know in that little head of yours, you've had
mean-
like plenty of memories.
If I were to compile a list of the best Disney Channel originals, it would be up there.
Yes.
You think of like Johnny Tsunami, you think of Smart House, you think of like Xenon, you think of The Color of Friendship. This is in there.
Yeah.
It's very
Andrew-
different. It's a very different movie there at the end.
Do you have
but,
them all on like a Blu-ray box set,
Oh, yeah.
and you just like
Oh,
watch
for
them every
sure.
weekend?
For sure.
Honestly,
brother,
if
yeah.
Disney ever is out of money, put that together.
Oh, that would sell.
Listen, we're buying it.
Yeah.
We're all
You know
buying
you
it.
are.
We don't even have DVD players, and we're like, give it to me.
Yeah,
I
I need a hard
just-
copy of this shit.
I
man.
just want it on the shelf.
The 4K, I gotta get the remastered version of Brink.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't even like widescreen. If y'all noticed,
No
it was,
way, 4x3.
Yeah, beautiful. But I don't remember a ton. I just know that this was one of the big ones. It was pretty common to sit down on a Friday night and turn on Disney to see what their new original movie was for the month. 6 month. I don't know when they released them, but it was one that people talked about and enjoyed, and
It was like,
it's nostalgic.
did
It
they
is.
go in seasons? Was it like every Friday night, or was it? I can't remember.
It was either like once a month or like once every season. I thought.
yeah.
I can't recall. We didn't have cable growing up, so I'd have to go to my grandma's to watch any kind of cable or TV, Disney, whatever. I mean, we picked up Saturday morning cartoons, anything that was on analog.
So that's like in the ass crack of Kentucky, right?
It was very close. I remember when Google Earth first came out. You know how like you could see the cities, but then as you went out towards the country, everything was just blurry.
Blurry as shit.
We
yeah.
were right on the edge. Like as soon as it went blurry, that was my backyard.
You're not ass crack though.
Like crest crack. It's like just the edge crack. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the part where it's like if you
It's like
had,
the
if you
plumber's
had to
crack.
scratch it, people are like, "You scratching your asshole?" And you're like, "No," because you're like technically not.
Yeah. That's it. That's a good way to describe it.
I gotta stop making butt jokes.
No, please
Okay.
don't.
No, I got a running tally here,
Okay.
and we need to play a drinking game to that. Every time that you make a ass or butt joke, take a sip. This podcast sponsored by Bullet Bourbon, by the way.
Yep, we got that one on right here.
Bullet, call us.
Cheers, fellas.
Cheers,
fellas.
yeah. So my childhood memories on this one. I remember watching this, but it wasn't one of my favorites. Believe
Yeah.
it or not, we did Luck of the Irish, and Luck of the Irish was my favorite.
I didn't even include that in like my top
It was
five
a stellar.
that I
Yeah.
mentioned.
That's a top. That's a top.
Oh,
Luck of the Irish and
It's-
Smart House were the two that stand out to me the most. I do remember Brink. I do remember watching it.
Halloween, y'all.
Yeah, Halloween Town.
Halloween Town. yeah,
Halloween
yeah,
Town. Sorry,
yeah,
So
You're
that
fine.
movie scared the fudge out of me.
I didn't like it.
The boogeyman
Just-
just terrified me.
He is weird. I didn't
Yeah.
like the Halloween movies.
Do you remember
No.
Under Wraps with the mummy?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
you just unlocked a memory.
Holy shit! I totally forgot about that
Yeah,
one.
that was the one that I was like, oh, that's my Halloween movie. It's Under Wraps.
Whoa.
Should we do a second episode too after this?
All right, we already know the sequel.
Hey, we got Disney Plus pulled up. Why don't we just put
Stay
Under
out of
Wraps on,
town,
you know?
Kyle. Just stay out of town.
Yeah,
a
Kyle's
little
gonna
bit
be
longer.
out for a little bit too. By the way, we want to congratulate Kyle. I know we shit on him all the time, but
He did
you
get
know, let's-
married this
yeah,
weekend, and it was a beautiful ceremony.
Beautiful ceremony. Feels so bad for Erica. having to take care of that man the rest of her life.
Yeah. Hey,
That's
she agreed
unfortunate.
to it though. That is her own
That's the thing.
choice. But
Yeah.
Kyle, if you're listening out there, we love you and have fun on your honeymoon, but also stay gone so me and Derek and Andrew can watch
Yeah.
Under Wraps. And then, but I guess moving on, Andrew, give us some box office mojo. Oh,
wait.
Yeah, I can't do that.
this wasn't released to theaters, you silly goose. What are you thinking?
silly me.
This was
Oh.
a Disney movie of the week.
Yeah. I tried to find like a budget and there wasn't anything. Searched
you-
multiple.
Did you at least get a release date?
This was 6 days after my 6th birthday, August 29th, 1998.
Wow.
So good time. Good time to be alive. So that's like right at the beginning of like school starting back or, you know, something of the sort. Either you started early September or late August, so like that first Friday of the week going back to school.
Did they publish this? Because the X Games came out usually in August.
that had to
that had to have been like a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I wonder. I mean, this movie, I feel like, is single-handedly responsible for the rise of those kinds of sports, you know, skateboarding and biking and rollerblading amongst the millennials. I feel like this movie right here,
It was on there.
either they came out with this because it was picking up, or they put this out and then that shit started picking up.
It's just like what we talked about with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. That like elevated skating because every kid had that game.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of kids were going out buying skateboards, and then you have kind of that extreme culture was starting to feed in a little bit.
So I became a skateboarder shortly after rollerblading. So I rollerbladed maybe for a few years, but my older cousins, they were all into skateboarding. So, you know, naturally I kind of gravitated into skateboarding. So I still have my skateboard. Cynthia was a skateboarder too, my wife.
The
Yeah.
tracks. The tracks.
Yeah, she was better than me.
That's too cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not that cool.
I will say, I'm pretty sure that I got rollerblades around that age and the time this came out. I don't know if it was because of this movie, but
it was because of this movie.
I think it's a good chance.
Yeah, you
'Cause
should ask your mom to pull out the receipts.
I'm sure she still has
I bet
those.
she,
Yeah,
you know, if she,
I'm not joking. I bet she still has those.
She
so.
wrote them off on her taxes.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good old Grace. I don't think it lasted very long.
Yeah.
It was like a couple months
Yeah.
phase where I wanted to rollerblade.
realized
And
you couldn't and
I
quit.
was not. Yes.
Yeah.
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 I fell.
Yeah.
Scraped up my knees.
Oof.
You know, got knee pads, still fell, didn't like it, and then just said, "Fuck it." But I'm pretty sure it was correlated to this movie.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point because like we were all kind of in on something on that extreme sports line. Like I said, August, it seemed like out of nowhere, ESPN was broadcasting the X Games.
Yeah.
So like I guarantee that this would probably like fall in line with that.
Yeah.
But that was the kids of the 90s right there. We all wanted to be cool. We all wanted to have our own transportation, even though we didn't have it.
Down the street.
Yeah. As long as our parents could see us. All right. I think we're ready to do the blow by blow. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's blow each other,
Okay.
baby.
Yeah.
Good, dude.
I'm
This
ready.
is what I've been waiting for.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we brought him in.
So, Derek, where does this movie start?
The first scene opens in the house, and they're all getting ready for the morning. And you have Brink running down the stairs, and then, you know, jumping out the door, and his dad's upset because he's too happy. And why is he so happy? He's too happy for
And he's speaking a foreign language. He's saying like "yo" and "peace" and
That's right.
"what up."
He
Yeah, that's
says
right.
he says what up to his dad, and his dad was like, "Do people speak English here?" And I was like, "I think what up was like around in the '80s. Like, I don't think that was like a new thing."
That's how I greet my dad.
I still say
What
it.
up?
What up,
Pop?
pops?
What's up?
Yo,
What's up?
How you living? I don't say that. That's a step too far.
So
but-
he's like, they establish him as being this like cool skater, chill character,
Carefree, you know?
carefree, yeah,
Carefree.
with
And-
great hair, excellent hair.
Excellent
Eric Von
hair.
Detten? How do you say his last name?
However you want to say
Van
it.
Detten.
Van Detten?
Van Detten.
Van
yeah.
Detten.
Yeah.
He's had a great career too.
He
was in
played
Toy
a-
Story.
With hair that good, you
Yeah,
should.
he was Sid in Toy Story.
Yeah.
Like what
Oh,
an
that's
iconic
right.
villain.
He
What an
even-
iconic childhood villain.
He even came back for Toy Story 3 to do the voice again.
Yeah.
And he was also in the Princess Diaries.
Right.
He was the jock that, kissed Anne Hathaway in the beach house. A little more grown up at that point, a
You're
little more
blowing
mature.
my mind.
But that's
He-
him, baby.
He was a heartthrob in the
Yeah, he
90s.
was.
Oh, very
I mean, he's a
much
good looking
so.
dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't take that away from him. But he was in like quite a few different like things. I think he was the voice of something else. I'm losing my mind on this one. Andrew, do you have it pulled up?
He was in Tarzan.
That's kind of. I think that's what I was thinking about.
He was Flint. I don't know who that character is, but like it's named.
Was that the villain?
I don't remember.
Couldn't have been.
Flint.
Yeah, I'd have to Google that, but it is on IMDb as
See how
Flint.
prepared we are for this show.
You
Dan?
know, we
we have all
we
of
really
our
put the work in.
statistics, and we
don't
didn't
just come in
show up to your
unprepared.
house and was like, "Hey, we're just gonna record. We're here."
Oh, that's right.
Beyond that, he hasn't done a whole lot. You know, it was an episode of Family Guy as
He does a lot of voice work.
He does a lot of voice work.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think
cool.
he might be out of acting at this point.
He's done enough to survive.
Yeah, he made good money back in the day.
Yeah.
You think? Yeah.
So-
Do you think he was a millionaire child?
It's very possible.
Yeah.
Very probable, actually.
No.
So,
I mean, Toy Story, this, and
Princess Diaries. That's got to be at least a
That's
million.
3 heavy hitters in the 90s
Yeah.
right there. I mean,
Yeah.
but his mom probably took it all from him as his agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably lived in like Thousand Oaks, California, and you know they were funneling that shit into other
Dana
things.
Point.
Yeah.
Something.
Orange County, which is where this movie kind of takes place. But
yeah. No, or at least, what we assume.
sort of near that.
Yeah, Malibu. He's out the door. He's meeting with his friends,
He's
right?
going to Venice Beach. Isn't that what he says? Venice
Yeah,
Beach?
they're going to go
That's right,
practice
yeah.
skating.
Venice Beach is like a super known like hangout spot in LA. Like that's where people go and like shoot hoops and like lift out in the open, and it's just a place where you go to be seen.
Yeah. Venice Beach is nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's where a lot of superficial people walk around, too. but-
100%. You see all those stupid influencers and people going around asking questions. Hey, you got a minute? Would you take $200, or would you rather go on a date with this girl? What are you gonna do? That's Venice Beach.
They're going to make it to Venice Beach, and he meets Gabriella and the rest of his friends outside on this bus stop. They're getting ready to take the bus, right, to go to Venice Beach so that
Yeah.
they can practice skating. They've got all their equipment with them.
It's the last day of summer. Don't forget.
And last day of summer, so this is their only chance
Dang,
to
is
get
it
it in.
literally about to be cold the day after?
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you know Los Angeles, once it
Once
hits just like
August
that.
29th hits, it drops below freezing.
Wow.
So yeah,
So they
get that shit in.
they realize that they missed the bus, that they're all late, and he's like, why don't we just skate there? Like, we have a mode of transportation. Why don't we think of that? And they're like, skate there? Are you crazy? Like,
It's
this
like
is a
7
skate
miles
movie?
away.
And
What are
he's
you
like-
talking about?
And he's like, did you come here to, what did he say?
When you woke up this morning, did you say to yourself, today I'm going to talk, or today I'm going to skate?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's deep, man.
And then they decide that they're not going to talk and they're going to skate. And then we're going to get our first of 45 alternative punk rock singles that play as they just montage skate.
These are like demo songs.
Yeah, all these songs are just good enough to remind you of good songs, but not good enough to be a good song.
They're Disney legal, baby.
Yeah.
They paid these bands $32 to make these songs.
Listen, I would not put it past that company to do that.
Especially in the day of the Disney made movies.
Yeah, it's funny. I think there are moments in that montage. I was like, that doesn't look like L.A., but like it's supposed to be L.A. Turns out a lot of it was filmed in Kirkland, Washington. So maybe that was one of those moments where it wasn't L.A.
Dang, it's
Yeah.
cheaper to film in Washington.
Yeah.
Kirkland, Washington. Where the hell is Kirkland,
Right
Washington?
outside Seattle. That's where Costco headquarters are, baby.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought that may be where you're going with that.
The Kirkland brand.
Yeah, Kirkland Signature.
Holy cow.
One of the best.
Honestly, it's one of the biggest brands in the U.S. They make more money per year than Nike.
I believe it.
Yep.
I believe it.
They have more shit, too, that they're peddling than Nike.
Yeah, they do.
And everybody always brings the Kirkland wine to every house party. They're making
yeah.
more off wine than anything.
Hey,
Great.
wine is
This episode
The wine
brought to you
slaps.
by Bullet and
Kirkland Signature.
Kirkland.
Signature.
Call us. We'll film Derek will get out there and film something there.
I was just there yesterday.
We're actually there now. So they get to Venice Beach. They start skating around. They're practicing. And then we find out, so our main character, the kid that was coming out of the house, and his dad was like, what language is he speaking? His name is Brink.
Andy Brinker, but goes by Brink.
Brink.
Yeah.
And he is the cool, nice, chill kid. He's got kind of every positive quality you can find in a human. Even when he is challenged later, he's still lovable and likable. But he's the leader of this supposed Miss Posh of people.
Soul skaters.
Yeah,
they're
the
soul skaters. Buddy.
skaters.
They're not sellouts. Don't forget it.
They're just skating for the love of it. They're not in it for the money that's going to be funneling to them like that $200 a week. They're just there to skate.
Listen,
one of them can't do money. One of them can't even do a 540 or whatever. Like the whole movie, he's practicing like some certain.
He falls on his face every single time.
He's like, Brink, help me! I need help with my whatever it was. I can't even remember. And this is where we meet the X-Blades, right, Derek?
Yeah, so we meet the X-Blades at Venice Beach. They show up in their swanky yellow and black outfits.
They look sharp. You got to admit, they look pretty fucking legit.
They look great. They're matching uniforms. They are a sponsored team led by the one and only
Val Horrigan,
who has smarmy smile, the most punchable smile I've ever seen in a film. And it's one of the reasons that he's the kind of character, though, that by the end, you love to hate him.
Yeah, he was cast well. He was cast well.
Oh, yeah. You know what he looks like? He looks like a better-looking Mike Myers child.
Ooh. That's deep.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
He's got the lips. The lips are just so succinct, and they stand out, and they accentuate that nasty smile.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
And this is where he goes full douche mode because they're trying to get the rest of their photo shoot in because they are a sponsored team, so their time is money for them. And the Soul Skaters are out there taking up all the ramps and rails and everything, so he's like, get rid of them, basically, so that they can finish up their photo shoot.
Yeah, he tells his boss there, he's like, yeah, I can just ask them. Oh, they're gonna leave from me. And then he literally talks to them, and they just sort of stand over to the side, and then all of a sudden, at a certain point, they're just like, oh no, you took it from us. And it's like, that's right.
Move your seat or move your feet, lose your seat now.
And they just give up. They're like, dang.
The main leader, so the opposite of Brink, the biggest douchebag
in the galaxy,
he jumps in on one of the parks and like makes Brink crash, and he's like,
oh yeah, when he first gets over to Brink, he like, actually that looked super painful though.
Yeah,
when that happens,
he
hit the ground. It looked painful,
and he clipped that like ramp too. Like
he could have broken his wrist. Like easily could have just shattered something in his arm.
It's not the first and only time in the film that he puts somebody in harm's way,
in peril. Yeah. So he kind of gets rid of them, right? They basically just have like a argument, but Brink is kind of too passive, and his team just kind of steps down. So the X-Blades kids take over, and they getting like back and forth, like, well, your mom, and like, your mom.
I don't even remember the lines that were said. It was not worth mentioning, but they get bumped out of the little skating rink, and then our buddy, our hero, Brink, has the idea. He's like, wait a second, guys. I got something that might work. And he goes over and starts talking to like the skaters, the skateboarders, I should say. And he's like, hey, those rollerbladers were talking shit about you. Doesn't say that because they don't curse in this movie. But he's like, yeah, they said some mean things about you.
Yeah, he comes over and he's like, hey, so are you guys like completely dumb?
That's what it is.
Yeah. And they're like, what?
How dare you,
he's
you
like,
little pompous ass?
I don't think that at all. But that guy over there said this.
And the main skateboarder looks like the lead singer of The Offspring. Just to throw that out there.
Yeah, he does. He totally does. And anyway, I don't know. I'm a massive fan of a good little diss battle in a film.
100%.
I mean, think of nothing compares to the one in Sandlot.
Oh.
No.
That is a perfect diss battle.
That's a good one.
Back and forth. But this one, I tell you what, it puts a big smile on my face when people start,
going after it.
What's the famous movie about the cheerleaders?
Bring It On.
Bring It On. There you go. There's a lot of dissing in that one.
Yeah,
lots.
Totally. Yeah.
But anyways, the skaters go and confront the X-Blades. I don't remember what was said, but like they were put in their place. There
was no fight or anything. No. The skaters went over and go, "Hey, shove off!" And then like the X-Blades guys look over and notice that Brink and his crew lied or whatever and sent him over. Yeah. So, and then that's the end of that. Yeah. Like that literally ends it.
Good.
And then it goes back to like Brink's home, where we're finding out his dad's like jobless and struggling because
he got a bad back.
He got hurt.
He got injured.
Right, Derek? He got hurt on the job. Back went out or something.
I can't recall that, actually. I don't know.
He was on like medical leave, and he doesn't know if he's going to get his job back.
They made it seem like he was like laid off.
I do think it was the back. It was like he was getting laid off because of the injury.
Yeah, and then like, welcome to America.
Yeah.
You got hurt working for us. When you get well, you won't have a job.
Yeah, see ya.
Good
Good riddance. You don't need one anyway.
Yeah, you don't need a house either.
What do you need? What do you need that for?
Yeah, you don't need any of this.
Just go be free.
Just go camp, you know?
Just camp.
Live at a campground, you know?
So
It's so easy.
So you find out that there's like trouble at home. The wife is a real estate agent. She's not really doing very well. She's new, I think, or just sucks at her job.
Yeah,
She can't sell a house.
I think she's brand new to it.
So things are not going well at home. And then now it's the first day of school, right, Andrew?
Yep. He
And-
wakes up and does his mom or something or his dad take him in? I don't remember. There's parts of this movie that, escape me.
The first quarter
Regardless.
of this movie just kind of came and went. And
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Which is good. We also shouldn't harp on it because it's not that important. But you're going to be honest, so go ahead and be honest.
So the first quarter of this movie sucked major ass, like, to me.
No.
See, I didn't know. I really didn't feel that way. There's definitely some like shoddy writing in parts. There's
some shoddy writing.
It's better than a lot of things. Let me tell you what.
It's better than The Room.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the first quarter here.
It's okay. It was all set up. It's
If
all
we
set up
take
to understand the
this piece
situation.
of cake out of it, this
Yeah.
is the cake that someone bled in. This is bad. I was losing interest. I was trying not to grab my phone.
There are moments for sure where I lost interest. Heck, I was saying I don't remember what comes next. That's probably because
It was speeding through
Yeah.
to nothing. Like I said, they have this big diss battle, but nothing happens. There's no fight.
They're
There's
just
no
trying
like.
to set up the scene.
I mean, they couldn't do too much fighting.
And then you get in, and the home dynamic with the dad, it's like 45 seconds long of the dad being like, "Woe was me. I'm kind of a dick to my son because I don't have a job." And it's like, I don't feel any certain way towards you. I don't know if I'm supposed to like you, hate you, feel sorry for you.
I think that early in the film is probably okay to not know how we feel about him.
Yeah, for sure. And this goes on for another 30, 40 minutes.
Oh, well.
I think once it hit the hour mark, it started piquing my interest a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'm just getting that out there because I've been holding on to that one, and I know I texted you. when I was,
said it right away.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
was
this
like-
is horrible.
So
And I was like, chill out there.
Luck of the Irish was
Junior.
so bad it made me cackle. This was just kind of yeah, it was kind of so mediocre it hurt.
I still enjoyed it.
I- 'cause
I had some fun watching this.
I did too, because in that first day of school, they get a little standoff with Val and his boys.
Yeah.
He confronts them in
Well,
like
let's move to that
home
point.
ec or like chemistry class. I don't remember what the hell it was, but
I think that was later on.
Was
the
it?
home ec. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let's move on.
Early on, he shows up and they had made fun of Gabby. Maybe her mom made her wear it. She shows up to school
she's
in a
gonna dress, and you find out she's Peruvian, and her family's probably fairly traditional in some aspects.
Yeah.
Leaning into stereotypes, but like, hey, it's a decent representation of something other than
Great
white
food,
bread.
though.
Yeah.
Great food.
And they end up filling a sandwich with worms and switching out Val's sandwich and making him eat a worm sandwich.
Before that, though, Val steals the shoes of one of Peter's, off his feet, essentially, and throws it up on a wire.
And Gabby was gonna wear
Which is a
different
gang
shoes.
thing.
But once that happens, she offers to give her shoes to the friend. And, and he takes.
What's his name? Peter?
Exactly. Yeah, Peter, I think.
So Val Kilmer, who is the leader of X Blades,
R.I.P.
eats a worm sandwich, and like he's freaking out at the table, and the teacher comes over, and she was like, "What's the meaning of this?"
That was one part
That was
where
funny.
that was the first part for me where I thought, why was the teacher so pissed at him for throwing up? And she's mad at him like, what's going on over here?
Don't do that again and sit down.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude just ate worms.
Why don't you check to see if he needs to go to the nurse or
you just vomited. Are you okay?
But no, screw you.
And there was worms in your sandwich because they're all over the table now. you vomited up worms. Should I be concerned? No. And what stops him from saying anything is he looks over and they do this carefully choreographed "Don't be a wuss" thing with pieces of notebook paper.
I was not allowed to say wuss growing up. I will
Were
say
you?
that was a curse word. In
I
my
could say
house.
wuss.
I could not say wuss. It was too close to pussy.
Well, one letter off, so your parents aren't wrong there.
Val gets up and challenges them to a relay, right? Or what do they call
that's
that?
right.
Like
I guess.
it's like a relay race with skating.
They're doing it right now.
This is the first time ever that we're watching the film as we talk about it.
We definitely watched it before this, by the way.
Right.
It's just on silently in the background.
Yeah, us being babbling idiots is nowhere near of like us being unprepared.
I will say this though, the skating stunts in this film are fucking rocking.
They're great. And
they are great.
I think some of the actors, the kids, like actually had.
I think they did some
They
of
did
them.
some of them. Had to have.
They
and I
had to
made
have.
note of that when I was watching it the other night. I was like,
there are
that's
times where
her
I'm like,
face.
that is, yeah, exactly, yeah.
You can tell when it is the stunt double.
Yeah.
But it's not like in your face aggressive, like, oh, there's a stark difference there. They did a really good job with all of that. So.
Exactly. I think so too. I think the stunt performers in this did a great job. There's when they're skating to school and they're like, skating down the hill and they jump over those people at the table. This is how I know I'm old. Because growing up, I think, like, holy cow, yeah, good for them. That was fucking awesome. But then nowadays, I'm like, yo, if some kid did that to me, Lord have mercy. I would be so upset.
Yep, I'm
like,
in the
what
same
the
boat
heck,
as you.
man?
Yeah.
The skating in this kept me interested.
Yeah.
It was good.
Because I loved getting to the skating parts, especially as like an adult. Like as a kid, I was like fully entranced in those. But as an adult, I'm like, yeah, these are fun. These are well shot. And to your point, like you couldn't tell the difference between a stunt double and a kid at some points. Like they blurred the lines really well. But at this point, they're doing the relay race.
And I enjoyed this scene because it's,
It's a good
little
scene.
Tag outs, next man up, get to the next point, tag out.
Yeah.
Just 4 versus 4.
There's a little drama because you're like, who's up next and who's going against who, how much
Yeah.
of a lead. So they do build it up very well.
And
then the
Soul Skaters had them beat.
Yeah,
And
and-
then they were on like the last switch off, and then the X-Blades member Boomer like hit a bench and like went flying and like really hurt his leg.
and I'm
like,
pointing,
it was
pointing
pretty
this
brutal.
out. I'm pointing this out there. He's the only black kid in the group, and he's the one that tears his ACL.
Well,
Hey.
they had to, because if they didn't, he would have kicked all their butts on everything else.
Yeah.
So they're like, look, we got to get this guy out of here.
Yeah. They would have
So-
showed him up.
So he hits a rail and
That's
just
what it was, yeah.
absolutely fucks his knee up, and he goes down hard. And Brink is like,
Brink's got the lead at this point. If he just finishes out the race, then, they win. But him being the nice guy that he is, cool, nice, carefree, but pure heart, he goes back and attends to old Boomer. And
All he does is look at him and then yell at some other kid to go get the nurse.
yeah, that's it. But he's still there, just like, what do I do with my hands? Should I touch you? Like, blah, blah, blah. It makes it look like
But
he's
there
doing
for him.
something.
He cares about
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
He does care
He
about
does
him.
care. He feels
Yes.
bad.
Yeah.
And I think the race gets suspended. They don't continue, and we find out that.
well, like, and the teacher comes over to the principal's like, what the fuck is going on over here?
But she wasn't even that mad from my memory. She's like, what are you all doing?
Yeah.
What is this? Because they can't skate on school property. You think people are going to be, well, no. What happens next is Brink's driving home with his dad in his car quickly after that scene's over.
I want to rewind there, because the funny thing about all this is there is a massive amount of kids out there watching this relay race happen, and they have moved benches, like,
Oh, yeah. It's a full team effort.
trash
It's not just the
cans,
skaters.
everything to make this course.
Yeah.
This would have taken them a couple of hours.
Not in a Hollywood set chase.
They had half the school.
Yeah.
One person does one thing, they're done in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and they clearly had talked about this prior. So
And all the kids are just like doing that stereotypical thing anytime you have a race in a movie where everyone's like, yeah, and they're like constantly. So the roar from this like crowd participation had to echo throughout the school. There's no way that they were going to get away with this relay race.
I mean, it was fairly dangerous from the start because he had like 2 lines of students on each side of like the skaters. Like someone was bound to get
I think there's an R-rated cut where one of the skates come off and
compound
guillotine.
compound fractures too. Don't
Yeah.
forget, bones
Yeah.
stick out. and,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the director's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait. 4K
Disney-
release. Disney, you're listening.
Disney not approved.
But anyways, this scene ends.
Do you think this is going to be a ride at Epcot? Like the Brink experience where they set you on rollerblades and just send you downhill in a school?
How many lawsuits would they face if that was a thing?
None. Disney owns the world.
That's right. So yeah,
can't-
it'll
you
be an
can't sue
Epcot
'em.
ride.
You
Once
get
you-
hurt, you just get thrown into a fiery pit.
You can't sue them. Once you sign up for Disney Plus, you waive your rights to sue them.
I forgot. They can throw you in the Sarlacc pit because they own that now.
Oh shit.
That's the real reason Tim
Yeah.
Cook wanted wanted Lucasfilms was just for the Sarlacc pit. So
What do you get digested over like the course of like 2,000 years, something like that? Is that what it is?
it's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you're dead in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Stomach acid, you know,
Yeah.
but
Then you're forgotten about.
see ya.
Yeah. Peace.
It's better than being a Jets fan.
Fuck the Jets. Piss poor franchise. But what were we talking about? Where were we
So
at?
they've done the relay race,
the relay race.
and as Brink comes back to check on Boomer, they get busted by the principal,
Yeah.
and Brink gets
suspended because you fast forward and he's in the convertible with his dad driving down whatever sunny Los Angeles street is, and his dad's like, 4 hours at school on the first day and you're already suspended? Wow, are you even gonna go to school this year? Wow, just very angry.
I'm not
and-
gonna lie, his dad is kind of right.
His dad is right.
I mean, think about it. That kid's first day of school, and he
He gets suspended not even before the day was over.
Listen, whether Brink should have been suspended on his own or not, obviously we don't agree with that. But at least I don't agree with that.
Yeah. How would your parents react if you got suspended on the first day before school was even out?
I don't know. I was a pretty good kid. I was only ever held in the principal's office for a full day, like maybe once.
Nice.
What'd you do?
I was. God, you're gonna have to just tell me if you edit this out or
want
not.
to know. So
Listen, me and my buddies, when we were in elementary school, we used to have a competition to see. Okay, boys' bathroom. You fellas know this. For the women, you guys don't know how it's set up in the boys' bathroom. But you got 2 stalls. You got the stand-up trough that everybody, all guys semicircle around the stand-up trough to pee together, and then you have 2 sinks. We would stand in between the stall and the trough, and we would see just who could pee the furthest.
Yes, everyone did that. I was going to say it was pissing distance contest.
If it made it into the sink, great. If it made it to the second sink, you're a fucking hero. Matthew Franksman made it all the way to the fucking wall one time. All right? And we were talking about that. We were bragging. We're bragging about Matthew Franksman. Sorry to make you culpable there, Matt. And Ethan Ball overheard us and went and sold us out for some character counts coupons, which were these little, communistic coupons they give you for doing good things.
Screw Ethan
at,
Ball. If he's listening.
Elementary school.
I hope you're suffering right now.
I hope he's doing well.
I'm kidding, yes.
And we got sold out, so we had to spend the entire day in the principal's office, and we had to call our parents and tell our own parents what we did.
Oh, that's the worst.
We were almost not allowed to go on the school field trip, which was to Mammoth Cave.
That would be a blow. That would hurt.
We were a week away from the field trip, and they're like, "We are this close to not letting
was
you
this
go
like
on
towards
this
the end
field
of
trip."
the school year or something? Or
Yes, it was.
I would have made them prove that was my piss.
Well,
I would have been like, get out the DNA scrub.
Would you have the mental fortitude to even like bring that up at that
How
age?
old were you again?
I was in 5th grade, maybe.
At 5th grade,
So
yes.
10, 11 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was
10 or
smarter in 5th grade than I am now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've just progressively
I
gotten
will
dumber.
say-
I peaked.
We had to clean that bathroom on our hands and knees ourselves.
They made you do that.
Of course they did.
What a lesson to be
Rightfully
learned.
so.
Yeah.
And they made us call our parents. And I called my dad and told him. And I was in tears. I was shredded in tears, calling my father and telling him, "Dad, I'm in trouble because I peed in the sinks at school."
If I had a kid right now and he called me and told me that, I had to pull the phone away and like laugh. I would have to.
Yeah. So Dad, who was in trouble in school his entire life, told me, "Okay, I'll see you when you get home."
Oh, God. That's the worst.
And I remember sitting outside at the edge of our garage. I was, the garage door was up, and I was sitting on the concrete on the floor, crying. And Dad came, and I remember him just rubbing my back and sitting beside me. He's like, "It's okay. You said sorry." And that was all that was ever said about it again.
Hell yeah.
Father of the year right
Yeah,
there.
that was
That's
it.
What a good dude.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's
No.
why you're the man that you are now. Do you still pee in sinks?
Yeah, so got him. Got him.
Nice. I wish we would have seen a piss contest between Brinker and Val.
We did. We saw a lot of like.
I wish
pissing
that's why they were
contests in this movie.
suspended. I wish that's why they were suspended.
So, going the long way around to get back to where we were.
Let's go the long way.
Brink gets suspended for school. He's with his fellow soul bladers. What do they call them? Soul blades? I don't know.
Soul skaters.
Soul skaters.
One little important detail when he's being driven home the car breaks down. Don't
Oh, yeah,
forget.
that's
And his
right.
dad talks about how, well, this is going to cost a lot of money.
This is actually a quintessential part of the film
It is.
because it's the impetus for Brink's character
To-
to the rest of it.
Yeah.
Once they get home, the dad is conversating with mom privately, I guess, in the kitchen, as it insinuates, and they are talking over their financial strain at the moment. They're spending $900 on the car.
Or
They've
$750.
She's not sold any houses. He's not sure if he's going to retain his job, and Brink is overhearing them.
Yeah.
And
This is the part you were referencing, I think, a little bit too early, a few minutes ago, was their little scuttlebutt about financials and hardships.
Yeah. So yeah, because I think they do quietly mention it a little bit, or at least like say something that makes you think that everything's not okay at home.
Yeah.
And then this is the point where they're putting their financial pieces together, which the next day, I guess Brink is at school, or I don't really know where the hell he is, but he's with his friends, and the X-Blades guys show up, and here we go again. We have to have them doing a diss-off.
We just got to remind you that
They
they
hate
are
each other.
jerks.
Just beat you over the head with it, and it's really just Val that's the biggest jerk. The other ones just
he has little minions. He has the one with the stupid fucking pierced ear who just says the dumbest shit.
He looks like the guy from 12 Stones. His name's Paul. He sang on that Evanescence track. Wake me up, and can't wake up and save me.
So Val's like, why don't one of you come audition for Boomer? Is his name? He got hurt. He's out. So we need another skater.
He doesn't even say come audition. He's like, hey, we got an open spot. Don't think y'all will be interested, but I thought I'd throw it out there just to see if it tickled your fancy or whatever.
He puts it straight into Brink's ear too. That he's like, and I'm making $200.
He does say
a
that.
week.
Yeah.
Plus bonuses if we win.
Yep.
These skate
It's
competitions.
very slyly put out there, though.
Yeah,
It's
because
like-
He's smarmy.
and
Yeah,
deep down he
100%.
knows Brink is a very good skater.
Yeah.
and he is. Brink's talented.
Brink is talented, so he knows that if he gets Brink on the team, it will crush the other guys, and they would win more competitions and make more money. So it's smart.
But the Soul Skaters stand up for themselves and they say, yo, F that. We are not into that. We skate for fun. That is all we want to do.
We're not in it for the money. That's why we call ourselves the Soul,
Soul
Skaters.
Skaters.
We get
You're
it,
not
we get it.
sellouts, okay?
But Brink kind of walks away, goes, yeah, Soul Skaters. You
he
can
gets
tell
quiet. He's like, I've got something to ponder now.
Exactly.
What's
But he's
going
thinking
on?
about his parents' finances.
Yeah.
And in true fashion to his character, he wants to help.
Right.
So
He's not doing it for immoral reasons.
he makes a hard decision where he says, hey, I'm going to show up and I'm going to see what this place is about. I'm going to see how much they're actually making a week and if it makes sense. And he decides, hey, I'm going to be a part of the X-Blades. But if word gets out that I've joined your team, he tells Val, he's like, then I'm quitting. Is it at this point that Val says to him, hey, but you can't make fun of me anymore. You have to start showing me some respect.
He makes Brink try out
Yeah.
as like a
You're
power
right.
play.
He does. Yeah.
He's kind of like no, but yes the whole way through to make him like dangle like a carrot. Yeah.
He wants it to be on his terms,
Right. And so they eventually come to that meeting, and then he's like, oh, you can come meet Jimmy then. And that's when Jimmy gives him the lowdown on the money.
Yeah.
And he signs, I guess, a contract or something at that point and gives him a bag full of shit.
Like brand new, state-of-the-art gear.
And to your point, this is when he says, you can't make fun of me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
okay.
you're like, okay, that's going to come back.
Yeah.
Um, So
and it does.
Brink goes home with his new gear. He has like a full bag full of it. His sister's really smarmy. Catches him in the yard.
She's funny.
like, you left with one bag, now you're back with two.
I want to say, fun little fact, Brie Larson auditioned for that role, and she
Wow.
wanted it. And she was the second choice, apparently. And they gave it to this girl.
Wow.
Who was also in Smart House, I believe.
She was.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much a Disney actor, or actress, if you will.
We say that this made Brie Larson's career because
It set the ball in motion.
It made her very egomaniacal, and she was like... No.
Is she an egomaniac?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think she is. I thought she was pretty
She-
well liked by a lot of people.
Yeah,
but
she is, and she listens to our shows all the time. We love you, Brie.
100%.
Yeah.
Biggest fan out there.
So,
But he gets home, and the sister's like, "What's that for? What are you doing?"
and then he's like, "Shut up."
He takes it upstairs, and then that night at dinner, great dinner sets. Looked delicious. Looked like some sausage and peppers.
Before the dinner, too, I made a note of this. He, like, shoves it all in a hamper.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
that
hiding it. Covers it with dirty clothes.
Like, I was like, oh, they'll never find that. When your mom comes and grabs your dirty clothes, she's not going to be like, why does this weigh like 75 pounds?
Unless they made him do his own laundry.
Which this seems
Could've
like a
been.
family that wants
It
you to
does
pull yourself
seem-
up by your bootstraps.
Exactly.
Because
But they never show it, so we don't
they
know.
don't. I was going to say, we're talking about pulling yourself up by the
And
bootstraps.
I was spoiled. My mom did mine.
My mom
my
did
mom did
everything.
too, yeah.
So I didn't have to do jack shit.
I mean, you look like it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know I didn't learn a lot when I was a kid, so I'm wallowing now in my almost midlife.
Definitely regret.
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that.
you're just now growing up. So moving on with
I
Brink.
pay taxes because I have a job. And what does our boy Brink bring up at dinner?
I could get a job and help you out, Dad, because you're not helping the family.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And this
and
is
he's-
after he's already made the agreement with Jimmy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's
So-
already in.
So this also was like one of those scenes where his dad's like, well, how much that job paying you there? And he's like, well, I can get a job making $200 a week. And he's like, $200 a week? What?
I've
what are
never
you doing?
seen that kind of
And
money
his-
in my lifetime.
Your mom doesn't even make $200 a week right now. So his dad's like very interested, and he was like, well, I could do it skating. And his dad's like, absolutely not. You're
What,
not
he
gonna-"
just got suspended from school for doing.
Right.
You
You're not-
cannot make money off doing something you love, son. Fuck that.
I want
That's
this
a-
to be a
that's
lesson
awful.
to you.
He didn't get to do it. You don't get to do it either.
No one gets to do it.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't want you to be good at anything.
Tell me the truth. If you had a kid and he was just suspended for skating, would you let him become a pro skater?
If he's giving me $200 a
I'd be
week
like,
and I didn't have a
"Fuck
job,
yeah,
like
bud."
get out there. Like I don't like do it now.
I would think on it for a second, but like if he's taking the initiative to make $200 a week at the age of like 14 or 15, it's
great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no.
I'd be like, let's
Sponsorship?
let's make
Yeah.
sure we got your insurance squared away, but let's get this going.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
no idea what that could lead to beyond that.
great.
So, yeah,
Right.
do it.
And my
great.
like I'm not making any money. Your mom's over there sucking ass at real estate. She ain't making any money. So we need somebody to bring in
She
some
really
dough
does
around
suck
here.
at real estate, let's be honest.
So I don't know why his dad was so adamant against it. It didn't make any sense to me.
It was a bit of, I think, we have to think of it from the character's standpoint.
He was a typical Los Angeles dad, you know what I mean? There are a lot of those out there. Just like that. Yeah, very stereotypical.
I just can't imagine. It is hard to think of character motivation wise what he's motivated to do that.
Yeah, I had
for.
issues with the dad. I was like, what's your deal here? What's your motive?
This is what I think it is ultimately. I don't know how justified, but he thinks that skating will lead his kid nowhere. But what's weird about that is that he's like, well, I'm about to be making $200 a week. So to me, I'm like, well, that isn't exactly nowhere, but it feels like that's why he's arguing it to his child, is that he's like, this is a nothing thing. You know what I mean? Like, this is nonsense. But in my opinion, I'm like, well, a sponsored skater at $200 a week, that's not exactly nothing. So I don't know. It's
Yeah,
a little,
especially-
it's a little stretch. It's a stretch.
Yeah, you're basically a pro skater at that point. Like
You
you've
are.
already like become something at
Yeah.
15, 16, whatever he is, and
I'm jumping the gun here, but like towards the end, like he flips the switch eventually. He's like, I'm so eager to and so excited to see you skate in this competition. Like, where did that come from?
So that's the growth that they want the father character to have.
But the
towards
growth
end, is
wasn't
that he-
obvious.
yeah,
in
the
my opinion.
growth only happened when the dad got his job back. But I'm
Yeah.
spoiling the ending here. so
sorry.
sorry, everyone who has never seen Brink from 1998.
But let's move this on a bit because you
Thank
know,
God, because this is the point for me where it started getting
interesting,
bearable.
Yeah.
'Cause
interesting.
At this point, I'm like, I'm checking my watch. I'm like, how much time do we have left? Like everything is falling so flat with me.
Yeah.
And then now we kind of start to get the
You-
crux because now I'm interested because now it's like moral dilemma versus like
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
know.
now he stepped out on his family because he's not supposed to be doing it to his family.
Mm-hmm.
He stepped out on his friends because, not only is he skating for money now, but he's skating with enemy number one,
yeah.
Val.
Mm-hmm.
And
then his dad volunteers him for a job
Oh,
at the
exactly.
groomer without, really
Pup
telling
and
him.
suds.
Pup and suds.
Pup and
So
suds.
this dude is like dodging his friends
having to do school homework
and school
at night.
homework at night while doing like a 2 or 3 day job while being a sponsored skater in secret.
Yep.
So a lot of stress for this young buck.
Oh, yeah.
And the sponsored skater is a lot of work.
It
He's
is. You're-
taking a lot, like $200 a week is not worth it.
You're probably
with this guy.
practicing like every single day.
Yeah, they have practice, and then they have photo shoots, and then he's going, like, I guess to the groomers after that.
Yeah, and then
working.
he's trying to meet his friends down at Venice
Oh,
Beach
yeah, to
at
escape for a little
5:30,
bit.
before 5:30 every day.
And then he's going back home to do homework before going to bed, which, as the movie shows, he falls asleep doing his homework.
Also, he falls asleep in that scene. It's like 11:34, and the mom is still like dressed up in like her day clothes.
Oh.
My mom would have been like dead asleep at 11:34 back in the day. What parent stays up that late?
A stressed parent.
I guess
She's wearing a formal
a
dress.
stressed parent who's not good at real estate.
Yeah. What happens next?
Eventually, the soul skaters find out, right? They have a big skate competition. They're doing the half pipe shit. He's wearing sunglasses.
Well, that's
as a
that's
disguise.
That's
right?
towards the end, once the X Games actually happen. So before that happens,
Was there something?
There's some back and forth as we see the relationship and tension between
Oh, yeah.
Val and Brink play out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He approaches them in like class or something like
They're
that.
at home.
And he-
Yeah.
They're
and he-
baking.
And he's like poking at Brink. He's like,
Oh, yeah.
you can't make fun of me, remember?
Oh, yeah. He's
And
an
Brink's-
instigator.
And Brink's like, no, I didn't call you stupid. And his friend's like, what's going on? Why wouldn't you call him stupid?
Yeah,
He's
shit on
obviously
that
stupid.
bitch, man.
So at that point, Brink is just like barely holding on, like
Yeah.
not getting any sleep. He has these moments with his dad. They're starting to bond a little bit more, but
Yeah.
there's still that rift between them.
As it progresses that he's doing this skateboarding thing against his friends, better wishes. This is the thing. He's not told them one way
Yeah.
or another. So in his mind, he's not lying because he's not said anything about it at all. He's just hiding it. But his friends end up showing up at his house because he's supposed to be skating and practicing with them, but he's got to go to the X Games.
Yeah.
So he pretends
to be
sick.
sick. Yeah,
There's
and
actually a really funny moment where his friend Peter turns around and he dive bombs for this squirt bottle to spray his face.
Make it seem like he's got a fever or
Honestly,
whatever.
it's a good bit of physical humor in the film there. And
He's pretty quick with it too.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
very
that's not
quick.
his
It's
first
hilarious.
time. Yeah, it's not his first time.
hilarious.
I'll be
then-
surprised. I thought Peter was going to discover something in that room. I
No.
thought that was going to be the moment
Porn?
of discovery. Yes. Dirty.
But it's close. And now
close.
he's lied to his friends.
Yep.
Directly lied to
which
his
is
friends.
it's a no-no. You shouldn't do that.
No.
Even if you're trying to help out your family, still, you got to be honest with them.
Yeah,
They're
and so-
friends, they'll understand, right?
And he goes to the X Games, and his friends end up going to practice skating.
Yeah.
And at one point during the skating, what was her name?
Gabrielle.
Gabriella.
Now, they were supposed to compete in this, weren't they? And it wasn't him being sick, like, hey, I'm out, can't do anything, go skate and practice for the meantime.
Yeah,
Is that kind of what it was?
I think that took him not being able to skate with them. They weren't able to do a lot of competition, so he was kind of holding them back as a team. And then she was like, "Okay, well, we can't compete, but let's go see what the competition is." So
Yeah.
they travel down to wherever the X Games are, and he's got the sunglasses on, which we talked about
Great
earlier,
disguise.
trying to disguise himself.
cannot
best
tell
he
it's
can.
him.
Well, it doesn't work.
What?
Yeah, it didn't work.
I thought you couldn't tell who it was.
No, it didn't work.
Oh.
I thought a new character.
Fooled me. I didn't. Yeah, I thought so too.
It really blew my mind. But
whatever.
So he gets caught basically, and that's when all hell breaks loose.
You're right. So his friends recognize that he has lied to them and joined up with the enemy, and they peel off. It's a big moment for Brink as a character. And then he does exactly what he told Val would happen when he joined. He's like, if word gets out, if my friends find out about this, I'm done. And he takes his helmet off and he throws it at Val's chest and he storms off. And when he goes to join up with his friends, shortly afterwards, they're all eating. It's real tense. He walks up and he's like, hey,
Can I sit
can
here?
I sit? And they're like, yeah.
He
And
sits and they get up and leave.
And they leave. They leave him. And Val, little punchable face, walks up and he's like, you see, that's the difference between your friends and me, is that you walked away from them and they walked away from you. But you walked away from me and I'm willing to be your friend still.
What a fucking douche.
Yeah, but it's also like a very powerful.
It is powerful.
I thought that was like the best like back and forth in the
good.
movie. Like it's a very cult leader, and you understand why people follow him at that point.
Oh, yeah.
because before that you're like, this dude's a
he's a manipulator.
Yeah.
He's playing with your emotions.
He's a
hardcore.
gaslighter. He's a gaslighter.
Right. Is that next thing that they get is the downhill competition or something?
Yeah, they're planning for like the big. It's not the X Games, but whatever the big competition that it completely
And
summarizes.
I think it's the P Games.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
Sure.
this is the middle of the film, by the way, when his friends split up and they leave him. And
middle 2/3. Yeah,
his whole plan has been turned on its head at this point. He thought he was going to get away with it, and he's not gotten away with it. And we wonder, can it get worse than this?
We're about to find out, aren't we?
We're about to.
So his X-Blades team is practicing, and then his old friends show up because they're trying to practice too. They're like, we're going to find another skater. We're going to compete in this upcoming ultimate skate-off.
P Games.
The P Games. So at this point, they're at the top of this hill getting ready to skate and do this relay.
It's the downhill course.
The downhill
They're gonna
course
race.
of it. And it gets to a point where Gabriella and Brink are neck and neck on
But
this.
Brink doesn't want to do it. He
No.
doesn't.
He keeps like
wanna
laying
race her.
off, and she told
pushes him.
She was like, "Don't you dare let me win."
Val tells Brink, he's like, go to the outside.
Go to the outside. He's like, you never go to the outside on a turn. And he just sort of skates away with a look in his face. And so Brink knows something's up. We don't know what, but we're about to find out when Val directly puts Gabriella in harm's way.
We're right here. It's playing right now.
Yeah, and he throws some gravel onto the road, and then Gabriella hits it.
But not before Brink tries to tell her.
Yeah.
He says, hey, stay to the outside.
And she's like,
you're
no
crazy.
way. Why would I ever do that? Blah, 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 blah. And what happens?
They take 23.976 frames per second footage and slow it down, which is very odd.
And
Because
she
there
rolls.
are other parts of the film that they absolutely shoot
Should've
in
used-
slow mo,
yeah.
like that right there. But I'm not. I guess they wanted. It was such a '90s thing to do,
Yeah.
is to have the even slower mo stuff where it's like frame by frame.
It's almost like stop motion at
It's
that
kind
point.
of it's kind of weird. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of it.
No, but
You know what? I might be later though. But
you accept it.
I think it's one of those things that existed in its time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Like
very
when I
much this
see,
time.
like I
it's
see,
coming back.
and it reminds me of like those TV shows like Goosebumps and stuff.
Oh,
Like they
yeah.
did that all the time in those like
Oh, yeah.
kids shows. I
like when
don't-
something really dramatic happened, there's like a big reveal, or like someone like I don't
jump
know,
through a window,
jump through, or like fainted,
Yeah.
or 100%.
someone melted. It was like something weird like that.
Gabriella takes a spill.
And that was quite the spill. I mean, she rolled over like 10, 15 times, maybe more.
Her arms are in really bad shape,
Oh, she's torn up.
and she might have even broke a bone or sprained
I
something.
think she was
for sure.
paralyzed from the neck down.
She
How do you respond to that one?
Yeah.
How do you come back from
good
that?
serves her right.
Yeah.
Brink goes to visit Gabby in her house as she's all torn up. Her mom welcomes him in because I guess her mom doesn't know anything about the situation. And Brink and Gabriella have a heart-to-heart.
Was it really a heart-to-heart?
He tries to apologize, I think, and says he quit. Because I think he did
Yeah.
quit
He
the
did,
X-Blades,
yeah.
and he's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to tell her, like, I'm sorry. I quit. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
But
I did it for my dad and all this other stuff, so.
But she wasn't like too cognizant or like aware of what he was saying.
She
right?
kind of like turned her back towards him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
And then we get another heart-to-heart with Brink and his dad, and this one's actually a full-on breakthrough at this point. Like, I think they
Yeah, it
finally
is.
understood that. Because at the end of it, his dad was like, did we just have a human conversation?
Did I actually relate to my 14-year-old son?
Yeah.
For once?
Yeah, that makes me feel weird inside.
But he says something to his dad there that I thought was counterintuitive to his character up to that point. Which is like, well, I didn't do it just for the money for the family. I did it because I want the fame and I want the magazines and I want that stuff.
Didn't seem obvious. It didn't seem like that was truly the
I don't know
motive.
that I ever felt that motivation
didn't.
early on.
Yeah.
I think that they kind of wrote him as like almost too perfect, and at that point they're trying
Find something.
because he needs to have some sort of character flaw. He's not
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, well, Disney, make it fucking believable.
All they
Do
would've-
better.
They could have added some stuff to the beginning where he tells the team like, "Hey, we only do it for the money," and they're like, "Yeah, that's right." And then the team pulls away, and you just sort of linger on him, second guessing the fact that he's even said.
Or
that.
just like a I don't know, like a daydream scenario, or like a moment where he's like thinking about being some like star skater or something like that. You know,
you could even
Yeah.
simply had like a 5-minute montage of him just becoming kind of more egotistical as he got better with the X-Blades.
Give us a 10-minute montage
Yeah,
of that.
well, this movie was already like too long.
Or that he's really loving being on the X.
Because everyone's like, oh, he's a great skater. Even the team starting to come.
See him win something. See him get something more than just money.
Yeah.
See him get something like a bit of the fame. Somebody
Or he
wants to
could-
take his picture, and he kind of really likes that.
Or he could have taken some of the money and instead of giving it to his dad, he goes and buys something at a store or something, or like on
Like
this
drugs?
Yeah, drugs.
he could have bought a piece or something.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what drug would Brink have bought back then?
Weed.
Just weed. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
just
think
Straight
so.
weed. He would have brought it from a dude in
Yeah.
a creepy black van
Off-
that lived
off the
So-
street near Venice Beach.
Would you
Exactly,
would you think that Brink would have like gone and bought a Beretta 9mm with the serial number shaved off?
Totally. I mean, look at the kid. It's written all over him.
Destined for that.
To protect himself from future fame. Anyway, so like he has this heart to heart with his dad, and he's getting ready for the competition, and he surprises
His team.
his team.
X-Blades, the
Yeah, because
X-Blades team.
he quits X-Blades for real. Like,
How does he
he's-
quit though? What's
it's
the
awesome.
dramatic way
He
he goes
throws
out?
all of his shit on their table at like lunch
He
or
throws
something.
a chocolate
A
milkshake.
chocolate milkshake all over
Val's face.
Iconic.
It was
scene.
iconic. It was so satisfying.
Satisfying.
I was like, take that, you jerk.
Yeah. Listen, I love chocolate too.
I think it's about to happen right here.
Yep. I love chocolate, and you know what? At that, I'm like, oh yeah, throw it. Oh, it's iconic. Look
It
at
gets
that.
in his eyes.
And his reaction, Val. This actor is great in this moment.
Yeah.
He's great.
And then who was the one who stands in between Val and him?
Boomer.
Boomer, the guy that
The
he took
token black
after.
guy.
Yeah. Token black guy. The
I would have loved for Val to just go full on like rage mode here, like, and kick like Boomer's injured knee out from under him, and just like really just establish himself as the prick of all pricks.
I will say he cleaned that milkshake off pretty quickly, though. It didn't stay
Definitely
caked on his face for that
Definitely
long.
multiple takes here.
Yeah.
Dang.
Los Angeles. Oh no, the Kirkland Sun.
I mean, I think most is in Los Angeles. I'll give Disney credit there.
This is where Brink has a redeeming moment with his friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, he shows up. His buddy Peter has just broken his skate, and the team is having a hard time. Their mojo's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
their
their
leader's
leader's
gone. They,
What do you do?
They all suck at skating except for Brink.
And everybody knows when you're a woman and a beta male, you can't do anything without your alpha.
That's the best line we've had on that.
He goes, "Looks like you broke your skate. Looks like you need a new one." And so,
What's he do?
Pulls out a bag of meatloaf. I'm sorry.
With a melted block of cheddar on the inside.
He pulls out a bag of meatloaf.
Yeah. They just start slicing it up and handing it out on Dixie plates.
God, and credits start rolling.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No,
No, that
you're
was
good.
beautiful. He gives them brand new gear. He gives them
From the Puppin Suds.
He gives them shirts that say Team Puppin
Puppin
Suds. And they're like, well, how'd you do this? What? How'd you get this money? What? Where did the money come from?
Pay in advance.
4 months? Is that what it was?
months. 4 months in advance.
So this dude's been through 4 months of keeping this shit
That's what
quiet,
people
on
work-
top of working a double job and
that
not having a
was
relationship with his
that
father.
was an advancement of 4 months. Meaning that
Yes.
he was going to be working for 4 months for Pup and Suds for free. After
Okay, so this wasn't 4 months into it. This
No,
was,
no, no.
Okay.
This is that was what he was talking about. He's like, I took an advance. So
Got it.
like,
Okay, he did
it's
say
a-
advance, so he
so
got-
I was like, it's what people at Pet Boys do.
So who agreed to do that?
Listen, I just want to
A
say
bad business owner.
Very.
Bad business owner.
You're gonna give a 4 month advance to a
he was only paying
14-year-old?
he was
Oh.
only paying him $5 a day anyway.
Yeah, like, and I was expecting all the money that he saved up for his dad to go there. So I don't know what happened to that money. Like, is that money just, where is that?
Did you ever give the dad the $200 that he got from the previous competition or the
they
weeks?
never say.
They never do.
They never
No, he
say.
spent it on weed. Come on.
and a bad Beretta 9mm.
There's a big hole there,
scuffed on
Disney.
the ground.
Take note, and improve on your next adventure.
They enter the competition now,
And they kill it.
they kill it.
Oh, they destroy.
They murder that track.
Yeah.
And we'll skip forward because a lot happens. But both teams are going back and forth, and then the announcers are
It's final two teams. It's
X-Blades and Pup and Suds.
Pup and Suds.
And everyone's like, Pup and Suds. Like, there's this weird announcer.
Yeah, I actually thought he was pretty good. I liked his job.
He's like announcing. He's like, oh, Pup and Suds, the team we never heard about, the lovable team.
They're
But-
the dark horse here, but
and then they get down to, what do they get down to, Derek?
They get down to the final match.
It's a downhill
which
course.
happens to be
Downhill course, baby.
Is it the downhill course?
yeah,
it is.
the one that what's her face
Oh,
broke her arm
Gabriella.
on and recovered from pretty
In
quickly because
less
she's
than a
skating
week.
in this
Whoa,
competition.
holy cow, she's already skating in this contest.
Yeah, and her arm was in a sling. This is like 48 hours later, and she's healed and skating.
Hey, weren't they in school too? Whatever happened to that storyline?
This is the weekend.
They got
This is
suspended for
clearly
the entire
weekend.
year.
All of them were suspended. Thank
the
goodness,
entire
so they
year.
could play professional sports on TV.
And then dad shows up and he's like, I came to see my son skate and I have a job now. And like,
foreman, I'm back as the foreman of a construction site.
Thank God, 'cause
yeah, the same job
Poor-
that I got like brutally hurt at.
Poor Brink.
Herniated 10 of my discs.
His dad was like, I was half a second away from beating my child. My work saved his life.
It's funny, you know, we talk about this hard ass. He's not in, you know, the fucking boonies. He's not in Kentucky or Alabama. This is a guy in
Kirkland,
like,
Washington.
suburban Kirkland or Los Angeles. Just again, I don't see many of these characters. I mean, I'm sure there are some that exist, but like not the stereotype of what you'd think of a dad in that environment. So I just thought that was fucking funny. And he always wore his button down like plaid shirt. He was just super blue collar.
This is where they have about 5 to 10 minutes of just skating. I
Yeah,
feel like. it's a montage on top of a montage. I think
Yeah.
they have two sound cues through this.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just like skipping ahead to the downhill race because like it evens up to where the winner of the downhill
But they're not
race,
sure that they're going to make it, and then they get the points.
Yeah.
And now it's between.
He gets a, 98
Right.
there
It's-
at the end, or 97?
But either way, it's between Pup and Suds and the X-Blades.
and they're doing the downhill race, which has injured 2 people now in this entire movie. So it's very dangerous, and they establish it. And it's Brink versus Val, and they're going 1-on-1 in this relay, and it's neck and neck. And then what happens, Andrew?
Val seemingly gets injured. He falls and
Through
goes
the hay bales.
Yeah.
On a sharp turn.
off course. And he's down. He's screaming. And what do you think Brink does?
Brink stops to help him.
He stops to help him because Brink's just that dude. He's a lovable,
He's a good dude.
empathetic dude. And he goes down to help him. And Val, at that point, grabs Brink, pulls him back, throws him down.
He tells him, he's like, I knew you would come back to
Yeah.
help me.
What-
I was hoping on it.
What did I tell you about not finishing a race? I knew you'd do it. He picks him up, pulls him back 10, 15 feet, and then Val takes off and gets a big head start towards the finish line.
Yeah. And there's a section that's not on camera for some reason. And Val sort of knows that, takes advantage to
Which
get
I
a few
don't.
punches
I was
into
always
Brink.
wondering, how did he know that?
I think everybody would have known that, like, hey, when you get around this way, there's going to be nobody watching you.
No one was
Well,
watching.
The camera went off. Like,
Camera went
The
off.
camera does go off,
'Cause
which
so-
is weird. Why would they even cut that at all? Why wouldn't they just open up the next feed and just
Yeah.
let it run until we see him?
There were people
Right.
though that saw it though. There were
Oh.
people. There were bystanders. You saw people
Oh.
running towards that area once.
yeah.
I don't want to get to it, but at the end, there's something that gives gives it all away.
ESPN totally has a camera right there.
and then and Brink like cuts across to catch back up, and then
He
it's
goes off course for a second, which I didn't
so
think
I
was
thought
illegal.
was illegal. Yeah, so
But
I
he-
said that too. Which it gets caught on camera. So I think there's got to be an edited version where
But that jump is mad cool.
at that point you're buying the skates, and then so they get down to the nitty gritty here, and Brink jumps and leaps to beat him at the finish line. And as he beats him at the finish line, Andrew, I think that's what you're talking about.
They
Where
start calling Val cheater, cheater.
We saw that, you
cheater."
jerk.
Yeah. So they did. He was found out. They saw that he pulled Brink down and tried to have an unfair advantage. And
They didn't even need to do that because he won the sport.
Yeah.
He won the race. Look, and Boomer's even hugging him. Boomer's over it.
Boomer
at that
has a
point.
blue
What,
shirt on.
The X Blades, all the X Blades team members are like, dude, Brink, you're
Screw
awesome.
Val.
Val's
Yeah.
a piece of shit. We saw what he did over there. Jimmy comes over and tells Brink, like, man, Brink, I got rid of Val. You got to be my new captain. You're going to be the captain of X Blades. You're not going to make any more money than what you were making before. I'm not going to do that.
And Brink's like,
Fuck off.
he's like, I skate for fun, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Oh,
Even though he's just been making money and he saw how good that was.
We'll see how long that lasts. If the sequel, Brink turns evil.
Why didn't he like try to get like his soul skaters like on Team X Blades at that point? Like, hey, we can all make money together and like do this. Like, why didn't he like even like think about that?
Shut up, Andrew.
He could have changed their lives.
Turns out this was filmed in Canada and not in a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And the taxes in Canada wouldn't have been 200. It would have been like 110.
Yeah,
not even.
It wasn't even worth it.
Maybe
You know what?
95.
Yeah, after $200 a week, how much is he paying in taxes? Man, that's not a lot of money at all.
No, it's not.
So that's it. That's Brink.
Close.
That
credits.
was something.
Let's do it.
The father has his job. Thank goodness. No thanks to Brink.
Brink won the competition.
Brink won the competition. He's back with his friends.
He never gave his dad any of the money.
Val is isolated. He's looked at as the cheater that he is.
He sulked away.
He just went and sold his outfit for money for weed.
For sure. Now, I think Val did some harder drugs.
You're right. He probably cracked open that methamphetamine.
Yep.
And just lit up a pipe and was like...
And he let his life completely deteriorate from that point on.
Yep.
He never recovered.
Until it became so bad that he needed to get out of it. So he joined a cult. And then after 6 months of being in the cult, he somehow figured out a way to be the leader himself.
For sure.
In the sequel.
It was just kind of a cyclical...
That's fair.
Cyclical adventure for that guy.
He's a cult leader.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, let's start with you. You picked this movie.
Yeah.
How do you feel watching Brink now as an adult?
I had a great time still watching this. Yes, nostalgia is a piece of that. And I objectively was trying to do my best to not let that sway my vote on whether or not I still enjoyed the film. But I tell you what, the stunts are cool. It's fun. There's a rebellious nature to extreme sports that I think is something that I really vibed with. Maybe this is pulling back into the nostalgia pulls for me. But like that rebellious nature, I thought by the end there was a lesson for him to learn. He came honest with his friends and he stood up for what he believed in the end. And I think that was a lesson that this film was trying to teach us. And out of, a lot of films that just get put out just for fluff or whatever, everything tries to have a lesson and something, I feel like. But I thought that, for better and worse, for as far as the writing and dialogue goes, I thought that, the actors were great in it. There wasn't really anybody main cast-wise that I thought, like, you blow so hard I can't watch this. No, I thought they were doing great, especially for a Disney film.
Yeah.
And so to me, I still enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it. I know you called us immediately after and you didn't dig it, but...
Yeah, and I'm going to save mine for last, but Andrew, go ahead.
I enjoyed it. I mean, there were some moments where my attention was lost just because it is somewhat whimsical and not super serious at times, and I'm super ADHD, so naturally I'm not going to pay attention to every single detail, but it was fun. It was nostalgic. I was into the characters. I was into the story. Like, it, again, a silly story.
When Val gets his,
you
it
love
feels
that. It
good.
feels great. When he had that
good.
shake on his face, I mean, God, I might have clapped. Like, I'm not even kidding you. The acting is pretty solid, though. I thought that Gabriella, the actor who played Val,
Stand
Peter, those three were great. I mean,
Great.
even Brink was solid, too.
Of course.
Like, they were.
Yeah, Erica's great.
They were all good. Like, it was a well-acted movie for a bunch of, children. I enjoyed it. It was a trip down memory lane because I hadn't seen this since 98 or 99 or whenever, and it wasn't a waste of time. This is a movie that, like, I'm not going to, like, take the time to, like, go and, like, sit down and watch this on, like, a Friday night, but, like, if I'm at home, like, and I'm doing some, like, chores around the house, I wouldn't mind it on the screen.
I actually went ahead and just made it my screensaver on the computer, so it just plays on repeat.
Just restart it.
I mean,
Yeah.
That's
In fact,
that's good.
let's just watch it again right now.
Yeah, a third time in 2 days. I hated it at the beginning, I will say that, but I don't have the nostalgia that I think you guys did. It wasn't one of the Disney movies that I, like, really loved, so I didn't watch it a whole lot. And when it came on, maybe it, like, played in the background, but I was, like, either doing something else or not paying attention.
Yeah.
The first part of it was pretty slodgy. I don't know if it was the pacing in the first part of it. It felt like there was never any real stakes till Boomer gets hurt. And even when he gets hurt, I'm like, nah, whatever. And then
He's just the token black guy.
he's I mean, and that's what I wrote down. I was like, yeah, okay.
He was the only black guy in that movie, right? Like,
Yes, and he gets hurt.
Now there was another guy, like a stagehand, that was black.
Proving the point.
Exactly.
I don't even remember that.
But there was a point in it where it got better when he joins the X-Blades. It picked up for me, and I was like, okay, I do agree. Like, for one of these movies, in all seriousness, like, the acting was really well done for them being high schoolers, and it was poorly written. So they overcome a lot of, like, poorly written dialogue in this movie. And like you said, the skateboarding shots were very well shot. Like, they had to bring in somebody that had filmed, like, extreme sports somewhere.
I wonder if they did, yeah.
Someone who
had to be.
Filmed the X Games.
Was that when Disney had the ESPN?
No.
I saw it on.
Was that when did that
somebody's
come
back
through?
though? It was on one of the cameraman's back. ESPN. You don't think that?
I'll look at that. I don't think that merger. I think that merger was in the 2000s, but I
Yeah,
could be-
it was close, but because that Wild World of Sports opened not too long after this.
Disney was going to buy him, which is why they like put their names on the back.
Yeah,
we're going to buy him.
Yeah, we're gonna own everything.
We're gonna own 'em
put a
all.
couple of Marvel superheroes in this movie too.
Okay.
You know what I'm waiting for? The Disney Walmart merger. That's what I'm waiting on.
Can't wait.
The world's going to be such a better place if everything was just one
You can
company.
get Disney branded tampons.
Okay, I stand corrected. Disney purchased ESPN in '96.
So,
Wow.
So it lines up. It lines up.
Yeah, I guarantee you they had a cinematographer, at least in those shots, that had filmed the X Games.
100%.
Yeah, it had to. They had to. But
You know, we could actually,
rewatch it.
if we just rewatch it, we'll know. Let's just start it over.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, take it all the way back.
Okay, deal.
But definitely liked it more towards the end. Probably wouldn't watch this movie again though. I'll throw that out there.
Okay.
This
I would watch it if I walked over to a buddy's house and it was on. I'd be
100%.
like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
That's why I said, like, if I was watching or if I was doing like chores at home and like the TV was on and like Brink happened to be on like whatever channel I was watching, I would keep it on. 100%.
I don't know what channel I'd be watching that Brink would be on.
No, if
Disney.
you have YouTube TV,
Disney.
you know, you can click live
I can
movies.
click off of that too.
You can click on live movies and see what they have, and if it was there, you know.
See, I don't mind this, like, because we've done Luck of the Irish, now Brink. I don't mind the whole, let's do the next one. Let's do Smart House. Let's do Under Wraps, but none, like, Luck of the
13
Irish.
Ghosts.
And like, you guys did Blank Check already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just
There's a lot to unpack there in Blank Check.
yeah, gets your stomach a little uncomfortable.
I appreciate the plug, too,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah, who wants free money? Gross.
We always had a running joke, even though this isn't the plot of the movie, but the kid, like, forged a check from his grandmother, and he's, like, spending all this money, and his grandmother's getting, like, put in the back of a police car crying.
The remake of Blank Check.
Yeah. We should write that down. We should make that.
Let's write that down. That's a brilliant.
So, Derek, with all that in mind, you watched that as a kid, now you watch it as an adult. Does it hold up?
For me, it held up.
It held up. Okay. Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much meat to it, but yeah, it does. I mean, there are other movies that we have watched that I think are far worse than this, and I just don't think it's. I don't think it's like something incredible and superior to all the others, but it definitely does, quote, hold up.
I went back and forth. This is another one of those that's like right on the cusp for me. And because of no nostalgia to this movie at all, I'm going to say it didn't hold up.
That's fair. We got to have a dissenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can't
so
all be
it-
the same.
We'll beat 'em up later.
Simpletons. Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We'll murder him.
Yep. See ya.
But I do say that
See ya.
the skating scenes are really well done, and that was my favorite part of the film. And the acting was good. It's just the movie just kind of bleh for me.
Yeah.
But now this is where we do a little IMDb rating. This is
Okay.
like the last bit. Just give it like you know what IMDb ratings are. You
Yes.
know what something
wait,
solid.
I want to ask you this.
Yeah.
You're an accomplished director, writer, all this other thing. So, producer, how do you feel about rating systems?
I think rating systems can give general sense, but obviously with anything such as a rating system, it's going to lack nuance. And you know, when it comes to rating something, okay, this is where the drama is about it, if I have it at all, for rating systems, is that whether you think art, you know, in movies will most likely fall into that category. Not every film, you know, or not every movie, but films will fall into that category. And whether you like something or not, music, whatever. It's really going to depend a lot on your circumstances and how you're raised. So I think that rating systems will always lack nuance, because someone might give something a 10 that somebody else would say, I give it a 3, and for any number of reasons. And like I said, how you're raised, the things you experience over life, the languages, and I'll put that as a plural, that you speak, will all dictate your interests. And so I think rating systems will always lack nuance. But that being said, you can get a general sense of thumb, because most people were not all that dissimilar either. So yeah, I like looking at them, but I don't hold them with any kind of final weight or anything on a subject.
And we kind of do it more for fun.
Yeah, great.
I think we kind of look at it the same way you do. We like to put a rating on, because I think we are people.
You know what? Artists should be judged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Screw them. Also, defund them.
Defund the artist.
Defund them all.
But we agree with you. The rating system is just for fun. We're human. We like to rate things. We like to put things in order. It's part of our nature. I know, like, all art is always subjective, and we keep that in mind. But nevertheless, what would you rate Brink on an IMDb scale?
If I was to rate Brink, can I get nuanced with the in between, like point?
No, yeah, use
like
points,
something,
please.
point, something?
Use decimals.
I would give it a 6.8 to maybe a 6.9.
Wow.
Okay. That's higher than what I would give it, but I'm gonna say like a 6.1. I thought about maybe like a 5.9 to 5.8.
Yeah.
But the nostalgia carries it over for me.
Well, maybe
6.
I'm going high. I don't know. Yeah, I don't rate films too often.
6.1 for me. Yes, there's some holes, there's some shoddy writing, but like overall picture it's still good enough to give it in the 6s for me.
Great. Okay.
I'm standing on 5.1, just above passable.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm standing on what I said.
Let's look up what the actual IMDb
Derek,
scores.
Do you want to guess?
Oh, wow.
5.8.
I do think nostalgia carries this one. I think people have juiced that score.
No, the IMDb rating is 6.9.
Wow.
Which is pretty high.
way.
It is 6.9.
I said 6.8, right?
You said 6.8. Yeah. So you were not far off at all.
Juiced. It's juiced.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
I guess that means I'm basic.
Maybe you just think like everyone else.
When you go see a Coen Brothers film, do you go, "It's no Brink"? Like, do you
Brink. I have said that before, though. Yeah.
And while you were filming your own film.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, well, this isn't Brink.
Oh God.
Maybe one day I'll be as good as Brink. Also, the director of Brink, that man has worked. Holy cow.
Has he actually?
He's directed over 60-something things.
Greg B-Man.
Greg Beeman has directed over 60-something projects. He's an executive producer on numerous projects, TV shows,
American Gothic.
He's a working
Smallville.
He's a working fella.
One thing before I forget, did you all notice that what's the word I'm looking for? The font of Brink was very reminiscent of Indiana Jones.
Really?
The color scheme. The font's a little bit different, but the color scheme is the exact same as Indiana Jones. It's almost the exact same. Line it up, and it looks identical.
Orange and yellow.
Yeah. It's like a orangey red fading into a yellow as it goes down. Same color scheme as Indiana Jones. So,
well, Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
A callback. So, more plugging. So, Derek, before we get out of here, let the folks back at home know what you got going on, where they can find your work, and enjoy it.
Hey, okay. I've got a feature film out called The King of Bloody Fucking Britain. If you want to see something that's rated below a 6 on IMDb, well, below, you could check out The King of Bloody Fucking Britain streaming. Just type it in. There'll be something that you fancy. If you don't mind watching it in 720p for free, it's on Tubi. If you want a few dollars to go back to the filmmakers who made the film, feel free to find us on Apple TV, Fandango, etc., and Amazon. So right now that Barely Breathing has finished its festival run, I am in development on a script with a friend of mine, Eric Witten, and this is a script that is going to be loosely based on real events surrounding a buddy of mine's father who invented a special kind of a comb that revolutionized the hair industry in the late 1960s, early 70s in North Miami. And the story involves close brushes with the mob and...
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Pun always intended, actually. and in North Miami party hair fashion industry scene. And it's a wild, wild tale. So I'm excited to develop on that script and see what we can do. If you'd like to check out anything that I'm doing, I'm not incredibly active, but you can find me on Instagram at _Derek Evans. That is the, as in the _ Derek Evans.
Love that underscore. Really good.
Yeah, it
Good work.
needed that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have.
No.
Yeah.
And
You would
then,
have read it Eric.
Andrew, before we leave, what would you give Derek's guest appearance here in an IMDb score?
Oh, like 9.9. It's
Yeah.
like the.
Should we get
highest
rid of
there was.
Kyle?
I think Kyle's done.
Yeah,
Kyle,
see it,
Kyle's
dude.
been fired. Derek
They
is
already
fired,
told me they're
Kyle.
going to pay me $200 a week to do this, and now I am doing it.
Yeah.
And $200 for bonuses for winning games.
And we offered him free pair of roller skates.
Yeah, we did. Also, I want to say
They're a little
one,
small, but I do like them.
Size 8.
one last thing about this man to my left. Beyond his, accomplishments in performance and film, he's going to be a dad in a few weeks. So
I am going to be a dad.
a daddy, a true
Like
daddy.
just a few
literally a few weeks. So
Yes.
maybe by the time
Maybe
this,
less.
this airs, I don't know.
Yeah. I hope
Who
it's
knows?
the first thing my child listens to.
It's got to be.
Honestly, get
Yeah.
him some
You
of
know
those child headphones.
In the birthing room, I hope you're done by then. So instead of music, I just play the podcast for Cynthia to, listen to while she's birthing my child.
God.
I am sure that will really influence your kid in a positive
And
way.
it
I
will
think it'd be the best way to enter the world.
Yeah.
It'll also be one of those situations where, like, yeah, he's a dad and also divorced now.
Oh, it may be worth it
Ever
for my
know?
kid's education.
That's right.
I'd do anything.
Well, Derek, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for picking Brink. Hopefully we get you on to some episodes later in the future. Everyone listening, go check out his work. He's an amazing, talented screenwriter, performer, and director. And you know the drill by now, Andrew, right?
Do I?
Yeah, we
Is this
reached
when we do the butt stuff?
Yeah.
We do the whole stuff.
We fill the whole
We
stuff.
fill up all of our holes together
Yeah.
at the same time.
So we just reached into your hole, pulled out the nostalgia that is Brink, and found out, 2 to 3, it holds up. So
Yep, and Chase was wrong.
I was wrong.
Chase is wrong.
Always wrong.
Yep.
Go watch it. Go catch it. Go catch Derek's stuff tonight on Tubi, and we'll catch you next time.